boys and girls, welcome once again. Another weekly episode of our Q&A. There's holy shit, Facebook, for all you pop-ups. Couple of quick exciting announcements. We put together some tools for you. I know a lot of you guys are big Go high level users, so if you're interested, I've got an affiliate link for you, and what you'll get with it on top of the software includes onboarding done for you funnel. So this will take you from when people are kind of getting their necessary information, feels like pulling teeth, to welcome aboard, which makes them stay much longer and pay you much longer. I guess I've got the onboarded twice. We got a couple of money making campaigns. These are like really simple gratitude campaigns and things you can do to run to reactivate lists. I've generated as much as 100 grand for a client doing these things, and they're really simple and easy. As well as we've got a phoneless booking snapshot, and those are for those of you guys who are getting clients who are basically saying stuff like, hey, the leads aren't good and they're all bad, and it's always because, I shouldn't say it's always, but most of the time it's because they don't follow up with people. And we'll set that up so that it just goes straight into their calendar and gives them reminders, and then they show up, and then they don't say they're bad leads, because they can usually handle people in person. It's over the phone that we're shit. So if you're interested in that, I will put a link below. What's up, Carlos? I will put a link below after this. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings to you our weekly Q&A. All right, so let's get into the questions. I'll post the links after on the replay. David says, hey guys, looking for a marketplace where I can find some good VAs. Any recommendations? Yes, David. I don't know if there's like a marketplace per se, but I'll tell you the two best places I get mine. Onlinejobs.ph, just plain old-fashioned Facebook groups for agency owners. Go in those two places, and the best thing to do is give them some kind of trial assignment, work together. You'll learn more about working together than you will about resumes and interviews and cover letters. So I just give them a trial assignment, let the trial assignment sort them out. You can give more than one of them a trial assignment. We sometimes give as many as 20 people a trial assignment because we're looking for the best one. So that's the best way to find the best one. I hope I'm saying your name correct. Sudhir Shahan. That's sorry, man. That's a tough one to say. What is the best way to price a digital marketing agency today? Example, social media management, fixed monthly fee or per hour fee. Let's just throw out the per hour fee because I think that's a terrible way of doing it in general. Per hour is what you do when you're on a job. If you want a job, then go work a job. There's nothing wrong with working a job, but if you want independence and things, you got to price yourself based on the value. So there's only really three ways to price yourself in this agency game. Retainer, percentage of the results, or a share of those first two things where you get a retainer and a share of the results. And I'll tell you, the longer I do this, the more I'm interested in getting a share of the results. In some niches, that's tricky. But regardless, you want to price your stuff in terms of value. So you want to think about, like, if you're bringing, like, for example, a business $100,000 a year of business, then having a $1,000 monthly fee is probably not going to be a big deal, even a $2,000 a month fee. So instead of thinking about, like, how should I price my stuff, think about how you can deliver the most value, and ultimately what will happen is your prices will go up. I found this, like, just in the personal injury space, and this is true in every niche. You help people bring, like, higher end, more valuable stuff and focus less on the, like, really cheap volume leads, you'll be able to charge way more money, right? Because what ends up happening is if I bring a lawyer an $80,000 case, even if I only bring them 3 of them a year, that's 240 grand. It's pretty easy for me to justify, a $4,000 a month or a $5,000 a month fee. So focus on bringing your clients value, and then price according to value. Do not price based on time. Do not price based on how long it takes. Do not price per hour. This is what, no offense, but this is what broken middle class people do. We want to de-link getting paid. Time and value are independent of each other. So we want to get paid for the value we create, not the time we spend creating the value. I hope that's helpful, because otherwise you're going to waste a whole lot of time. Gennaro. Hey, does anybody know why all my lead ads work for my clients, but when I try to run them for my own marketing agency, I get no leads? Or anybody help with tips for a better ad or something? Thank you. It would really help. Gennaro, I mean, the short answer is really just offers, but I'll tell you, this is not an uncommon thing, by the way. Like, when I first got into SEO, I was really, really fucking good at ranking websites, but I do nothing about selling ranking websites. Those are two distinct things. And so I could provide a great service, but I had no idea how to actually sell my service. And I got into some white labeling stuff, which worked out really well because at that time I didn't have to sell myself. I didn't know. I kind of lucked into that, to be honest with you, at least back in those days. Now, here's the thing, okay? A lot of times your lead ads work when you run for clients. Like if I run a lead ad for a lawyer, I'm only competing with other lawyers. So I call it like being the tallest midget. Like they're generally not great marketers. They don't have a ton to say. There's competition, but not like marketing agency competition. So it's not so cutthroat. They're not getting a gazillion messages from lawyers. So it's kind of easier to stand out. If you're having a hard time standing out with your own messages, it's almost always the offer is just not unsexy enough. You know, there's 3 offers you nail in your agency. You can be extremely wealthy. Offer number 1 is what I call like the coffee date. That's like the hand raiser where they say, okay, I would like to know more about what you're doing. This is what you're going to put in a lead ad. The second thing I call is your first date. Okay, like let's actually do some business together on a small scale and see if we like working together. And the third is marriage. Now, the longer you do this and the more case studies and proof you have, you can actually go straight to marriage. But I would still recommend having all 3 offers because if you have the hand raiser, if you have that like coffee date, you're going to build an audience, and that's a very, very valuable asset long term. If you have the first date, it allows you to feel out clients. I could probably go straight to marriage with my clients, but I don't want to because I want to feel them out first, and then I go to my marriage offer. So if you nail those 3 offers, so for you, where it sounds like it's goofing up is in the hand raiser. And chances are, if you're struggling with the hand raiser, the best thing to do is just research your market and see where they're getting stuck. Go into the Facebook groups they're part of. Go into the Reddit places they're on. Go on Amazon and read the reviews they post on books and see where these people are getting stuck and see the problems they have and the challenges they have and build something like that. So like just say, for example, if a dentist is looking for a step-by-step plan to grow their practice, then you having a little 2-page PDF that's a step-by-step plan is going to be really valuable, and you'll be able to get people to raise their hand. So chances are you're just missing the mark for what they want and need, and the best way to do that is just go back to research. And Nicholas Kusmich has a great acronym for lead magnets, which is what you're working on in your lead ad. It's SAGE. It stands for short, actionable, goal-oriented, and educational. And so a lot of times we think we have to create these 300-page fucking PDFs, and they just end up going in somebody's hard drive never to be read. It's much better to have like 1 page of actionable shit that they can do in 15 minutes that will help them. You'll get hand raisers for that. So chances are, if you're not getting hand raisers, what you're giving away as the hand raiser is just not inherently valuable enough to your marketplace. So fix that, and you'll find your lead ads start working. Dennis. Is anyone having the same problem currently? I work primarily with chiropractors. We record content for them, and I use it to run ads and post on Facebook and Instagram. My clients are getting way less leads now, and I'm starting to get a bit worried. Do I take a different route for advertising via TikTok and Google? I was able to get clients great results by spending $600 to $1,000 per month on ad spend. Now I'm not sure what to do. Any advice is appreciated. Thank you. So Dennis, this is every offer in the history of time, by the way. When it starts working, it works really well, but they do not last forever. They eventually fall off a cliff. All of them, especially if you're in a little local market where there might only be a group of 10,000 people that you're like actually running ads to that are within, the target radius of that business. So it's very rarely like switching platforms is going to switch it up. It's most likely just people have seen it. I'll tell you the lowest hanging of low fruit. When people get bored of your ad on Facebook, change a damn image. And you'd be surprised, the same ad, because that's the first thing they see before they even read the copy is the image. You swap the image, almost always you can make old offers new. But that's why I'm so big on this offer making skill as a means to run your agency as well for your clients, because what ends up happening is your offers will die out 100% of the time, all the time. So what you need to do is figure out a way to make it new and shiny again. That could be making a specialized version. So like, I don't know what your niche is, so I can't say it forever, but like, let's just say you're running, excuse me, a little bakery. And your offer is come get a free cookie. Well, the free cookie offer is not going to last forever, but then you could have an offer for like come in get a dozen cookies half price, or it could be we got cakes, it could be we got pastries, it could be we're running a cooking class, right? So like you've got to change those offers up. You don't have to do this forever, by the way. If you can have just like 3 little kind of open the conversation offers. Oh, I think you said chiropractors actually. It could be like free assessment, it could be like half price thing, it could be get this download for this high-end service. But usually if you got like 2-3 offers, you can just swap them up like once a month. That's what I used to do with my lawyer stuff. Same deal, because it's a small audience, it runs out of steam. I'd run offer number 1. After like 6 weeks it stops working, then I run offer number 2. 4 to 6 weeks, same deal, then I run offer number 3. 4 to 6 weeks, stops working, then I go right back to offer number 1, and you can cycle between those things. You don't always have to come up with new shit, but you have to have like a little bit of variation. You can only run like, the free cookie offer for so long before you need to show them something different. Tom, what do you do when your Facebook account has been restricted from advertising? Tom, I probably talked about this topic like 1,000 times, so I'm going to be kind of short, but the answer is 3 things. 1, appeal, 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 appeal until they eventually cave. That process may take you months. 2, get on another platform. YouTube ads, probably the lowest hanging fruit right now. And 3 is start building your own audience so that you're not dependent on Facebook ads. The whole point of running ads is to turn it into your own audience that you control, your own list, your own assets, your own groups, your own communities, your own social following, because you don't want to be dependent on these platforms, because as you've seen, they can just bitch slap you whenever and kick you out of the game, and nobody wants that. Julian, can someone advise me for free on how to run ads to get clients for my agency? I offer a money-back guarantee on the service, on the ad service, and I can pay you with the closing of one of the clients. Pay it forward. Here's the deal, Julian. I don't know what your service is. Money-back guarantees. Here's the thing with guarantees, okay? They're only as good as they are unique. If you're like the 27th person offering a money-back guarantee, it'll be utterly meaningless. So we're not operating in a vacuum. You're in a marketplace. So as I mentioned earlier, those are the 3 offers you got to do. You got to be able to get people to raise their hand. And ideally you do the hand raiser strategic so it leads into the damn thing you were selling. So like, for example, I did a bunch of research on lawyers, and I found out like 81% of lawyers get like almost 100% of their business from referrals, and they do nothing to make that happen on purpose. So we created a little offer, and it was, we'll send invites out in your neighborhood, invite everybody to the bar for a big networking event, and they'll be your people. They'll be like, in a case of an injury lawyer, they're chiropractors, they're physiotherapists, they're auto body shops. Those are the people who've been in car accidents. And we'll invite them all together to the bar, and you'll get together and you'll get some deals out of it. And we had guys who like got a whole bunch of deals. So that was like our offer. We were testing it because it seemed like easy enough to deliver. So the offer starts with referrals, right? Like we did our research. So the first thing we did is we created a little 1-page PDF that showed you everything you could be doing to get more referrals, including one of the things being the thing we offer. Okay, so it's easy for somebody to raise their hand for that because they want to get more referrals, right? So come download our thing. Then immediately they get a series of follow-up emails that sell the first aid. Come try this one event with us. And then if they like it, obviously we sell the marriage offer. So if you're trying to get clients, like you got to think about those 3 offers. How can I like strategically lead them in to my thing? And the best way to think about it is like, if you've ever been to Costco and you shopped at Costco, I'm not the biggest fan of Costco, but my mom used to take me there Saturdays for lunch. And if Costco wants to sell more pizza, how does Costco sell more pizza? They don't do it by saying, delicious crust, extra flavored, super healthy, gluten-free, amazing. No, they cook a pizza and they cut them up into little tiny pieces and they say, would you like to try one? And it's totally free. And a certain percentage of people who eat the free pizza go, actually, if you don't mind me asking, how much does a box cost? I'd like to take 2 of those with me. And that's how they sell it. So you want to create a little free sample, a little Costco sample of what you're doing, and ideally have this be information that does not require you to deliver it. So like a 1-page PDF that explains how you can get referrals and all those things. That's actually really valuable to somebody. They can consume it quickly. It's useful, but it leads right into the thing we're selling. So those are the best kind of things that if you're going to run ads that I've found, like, yes, you can go ads straight to sale, and I'm not saying not to do that, but man, you'll have better experience, I think, if you add the intermediary step of getting the hand raisers. You can still go almost straight to the sale in like 24 hours, but you'll build an audience and have people you can follow up with. So that's my suggestion for that. This is Marco. Now, what could I do for them a day and produce a meaningful result with SEO and web design has got me stumped. This has been my problem. Thanks again. Marco, this is a little follow-up to a discussion we had in the group. Now, here's the deal, okay? So what you're looking to do is create a first date that shows people a meaningful result that leads into your SEO service. And this is a little bit tricky because SEO is obviously one of those things that takes a long time, and people have been burned for it a long time. So if you do SEO and web design, I'll tell you a couple of things. So this is what you want to think about, right? Like just to get your head around it. You want to think about getting somebody a result as quickly as you can. And I usually try and limit that to 24 hours, but in some cases, it may take longer. Like in one of the cases, one of the offers we're running, it's with cold Facebook ads, and so it just takes a little while to work, right? Like that's just the nature of Facebook ads and cold traffic. So we offer it as a 90-day segment. So there's nothing wrong with offering like 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or something. So one such example, if you're trying to get somebody a result, might be like, let's just take one meaningful keyword, and I will be able to, and you obviously do your keyword research, and I will be able to get you number one for this keyword in 30 days. And obviously pick that keyword very carefully, make sure it's something easy. And let's just try this one keyword. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but let me just prove myself to you. Another example, by the way, I see this all the time, and this is so fucking easy. So one of the things we have in our mastermind, like for example, one of the guys designs websites for cleaning companies, really, really good guy. I won't mention his name, but like let's say you're making websites. What most people think is that my value is creating a custom website and all this back and forth. But I told him there's lots of people who could use your website, and so one of the things that differentiates his website is it's set up to take orders, meaning it's not just like a pretty brochure. Like you go there and the cleaning companies can quote jobs right on the website, and then they can give you a quote, and then you can find out, and you can call them, and you can basically, because the number one question they get asked is somebody calls them and says, can you quote me on this job? So what I suggested is go find people who could use that website and just say, hey, I'd like to install this website. I'll update the phone number in this thing. I'll give it to you for free for 60 days to try out. And then if you like it, you can just pay me $199 a month for as long as you want to use it. You can cancel at any time, but it's clearly an upgrade from your existing website. But why don't you just try it 60 days, risk-free? And then you have a deliverable that you can deliver immediately, like an existing website you already have. So you have those assets. So if you've got websites that are already go, or if you've got landing pages in that niche that are already ready to go, like sell those again. Or you can create like a little SEO deliverable. Think about what is the shortest, most meaningful result. I'll tell you what it was for me, and I'm not saying this for everybody, but I know if I did the keyword research on somebody's market, and I spent an hour looking into it, and I looked at 100 keywords, I would identify between 5 and 10 keywords that were relatively easy to rank that other people had glossed over. And so if I was going to create a first date in SEO, I'd say, hey, before we do this big SEO contract, why don't you just pay me like, I don't know, anywhere from like $100 to $1,000. I will get you number one for this keyword, or I'll get you top 3 for this keyword. And when I've shown you and demonstrated that this works, would you be open to having a discussion about doing a bigger project with me? Because the biggest fear with SEO, by the way, is if somebody's been in business for 5 or 10 years, they've hired at least 3 or 4 different SEO companies that said, hey, we're going to get you number one in Google, you're going to make so much money, you're going to get so wealthy, and all this stuff. And then what ended up happening is the promise just kept getting put off into the future, and they never ranked, and they never made any money. So they're very jaded with SEO. So if you can say, hey, let me give you a result first, and then we can talk about the deal, you'll be able to get your foot in the door with almost anybody. Say, hey, I found this keyword for you. I can get you number one in this for 30 days. Would you be open doing just a little trial on just this one keyword, pay for the project, and then if we do well, we can talk about doing more SEO. You'd be amazed at how that works. So those are a couple of my suggestions. Landing page, an existing website, installer forum, or some kind of small, meaningful SEO result. All of those can be a door opener, and get your foot in the door, get some clients. PJ, how long does it usually take to close a new client that comes from cold outreach? This is a thing that most people don't understand, is from the time people demonstrate interest and raise their hand and say, okay, tell me more about your thing, it can be like almost instantaneous, from like an hour or two to sometimes, like I'd say more typical is anywhere from like a week to 3 weeks, to some people that you reach out for today will come back to you in 6 or 12 months. And this is the hardest thing for people to understand, is some of the stuff you do today, hand raisers, like I've had people who like, literally I'll send them direct mail because I'm big on direct mail, who reach out a year later and say, I kept your letter. And okay, now I'm ready for this service. Do you still offer it? So a lot of times we're looking for this quick, instant result, but a lot of times if you do prospecting on the regular, it'll start to build momentum. So it can happen anywhere from 24 hours. I would say 1 to 3 weeks is typical start to finish. Closes the sale. Obviously depend on your niche and how busy they are. All the way up to, like, some people will get back to you months later, sometimes even a year. Um, Bradford, my agency is in transition. I have never used a sales team. Do you trust a team member to close deals and properly understand what the client is looking to do, or do you still handle that final step? I'm also in the U.S. and have reservations using a VA or anyone virtual from other countries due to obvious language, vocabulary, accent. Has anyone dealt with this? Bradford, there's nothing that says you, firstly, that you have to hire a sales team in the Philippines. There are tons of great U.S.-based salespeople that will usually charge 10 to 20% commission, so I wouldn't like necessarily look. But before you do any of that, here's my 10 cents for you. If you're closing and it's working, you have a process that's working, that's here in your head. And what you need to do is get it out on paper in the form to a framework and a script that somebody else can follow, and how to handle the typical answers. And what happens is, if you can create a training and a process, you can get almost anyone who's half decent at sales to follow it and to close. Where most people get this wrong is, if you got a working framework, like, don't leave it here. That's not the value of it. I don't know what's going on. Oh, my mouse is goofing up here. Get that sales process out of your head and get it working. Then I would say is, if you're interested, like, if you can turn that sales process into a demonstration, then you can actually put it in a Loom video, and you can make Loom videos do your selling, which is how we do it now. I don't even use a salesperson anymore. My videos are my salespeople. As I just send it out, people say, okay, I'm in, and then I do a little bit of back and forth texting, and we send them the payment link, and they get in. There's very, very little actual selling. The selling is done in those videos. But having said that, if you've got a working process for selling people, bring in somebody American, pay them 10 to 20% commission, and give them your framework that's already working. One of the best things you can do, by the way, record your successful sales calls and record a couple of bad ones, like, just record them all, and then say, here's how to close a successful call, and give them training for how to do it, and then explain your process, and people will be able to mimic if you do that. And if you do that, you can clone yourself without having to do the sales. But it sounds like you're leery of giving up the sales because you're really good at it, but you won't be able to grow if you have to do all the sales yourself. So get that off your plate as soon as possible. Unless you love doing the sales, I would get that off your plate as soon as humanly possible, in the form of successful recorded calls and training. Andrew, I hear many of the agency success stories are those who have fallen into a niche because they had previous experience in the past. Has anyone had success with going into a niche they had no absolute experience with whatsoever? I'm still hung up on what niche to go all in with. Andrew, I'll tell you, every niche has pros and cons, so just fucking pick one. Where most people get it wrong is they're too broad in the niche. It's way better to go at least 2 or 3 levels deep. So instead of like pick, like lawyers is a niche, that's really broad. And then I realized, okay, I needed personal injury lawyers. And then I niched down even more to personal injury lawyers who are already advertising, and between 2 and 20 existing lawyers. You want to like at least go 2 or 3 levels deep. So when you're going for a niche, you want to think sub-niche. Now, having said that, when I first started working with lawyers in 2016, I knew exactly 0 lawyers. Personally, I knew 0 lawyers on the internet. I never worked with a lawyer, never had to hire a lawyer. So yes, you can have success in your niche. The best thing you can do, by the way, is like, you're going to have to talk to these people and understand how they think. And it helps to choose a niche where you can have empathy. So I'm not a lawyer, but I can have empathy when I started talking to them. They said, well, I work in this overly corporate setting. There's bureaucracy, there's bullshit, there's meetings, there's unhappy clients. Nobody appreciates me. Those are all things I could relate to and have empathy for. So you need to be able to have empathy for the people. So it helps if you're in those niches. Now, I've also worked with like the redneck niches, and I found I didn't have a lot of empathy with them. I think these people are cool, but I'm like, I never swung a hammer. These are girl hands. They don't do real work, right? So it's really important that you're gonna take the time to understand these people. The better you understand them, the easier it is to sell and make offers to these people, because you understand where they're getting stuck. So that's the gist of it. Is like, spend the time learning. So there's a couple ways you can learn. Read their comments and questions in their private discussions. Talk to them in real life. Interview as many of them as you can. It's really easy, by the way, to interview people. Say, hey, I'd love to promote your brand. I really like what you guys are doing. Would you be okay to open to doing like a 10, 15-minute interview? They'll tell you what's going on. Those are the things you want to find out. You got to hear it from the horse's mouth. That's the key. And you can always, by the way, even if you have zero experience in a niche, you can go where they have conversations, you can read them, and you can learn about them. So that's the real key. Erwin. Hi guys, recently I have started some ads to bring myself some clients. Generally I'm doing really good with ads for my clients. What I've put into my ad copy is real. I've been a good marketer, but I'm terrible at selling my services. Multiple internal problems. Could you rate my creative? Erwin, I don't have the creative here, but I did see it, and I'll tell you, the first problem with your creative, by the way, is not an internal thing. It's that there's no niche. If you ever write an ad, by the way, that says, Dear Business Owner, I'm a fucking business owner and I don't think you're talking to me. It's way better. Like, this is one of the things I say about offer making. When you understand this, this is like one of the keys to unlocking. Almost always when people make offers, they're too generic and speak to nobody. So, Dear Business Owner, I can help you improve profits. Just too fucking generic and it speaks to no one. Way better to say, hey, if you're a personal injury firm with between 5 and 20 lawyers right now and you're currently spending on ads, then we have a new way for you to blah blah blah. That is going to be far more powerful. And so it's not an internal thing. It's not because the stars aren't, firstly, like, you're just not speaking to anybody and you're not putting a meaningful offer. And as for my comment that somebody else had a similar issue, there's 3 offers you got to make in your agency. You got to get the hand raiser. So if your hand raiser is Dear Business Owner, too generic, too wide, speaks to no one. Then you got to have the first date. Then you got to have the ongoing marriage offer. You nail those 3 offers. You can have as many clients as you want. Delivery is a whole nother issue. Scaling your deliveries, and that's the other thing, by the way. If you're just going after any business owner, you're going to have crazy issues with scaling because it's really fucking hard to scale custom work, which is what you're going to do. Because if you get a dentist and then you get an e-commerce store to design a website for, and then you're doing reviews over here for an online coach, and then you're selling a course, you will not be able to reuse materials between those 4 things. As where if you got like a very tight niche with personal injury lawyers between 5 and 20 people, or e-commerce stores in the baby niche, selling baby products, you can reuse things from one client to the next. In fact, you should be reusing everything from one client to the next. And so the biggest thing I saw with your ad is just not for anybody meaningful, and it's too generic. As long as you write generic ads, you'll speak to no one and get no results. So it's way better. I saw an ad recently, and I showed this to our mastermind. It was a guy, I don't know the guy, but it said, hey, if you're a mortgage broker in Australia doing between $2 and $3 million a year in your books before commissions, we help people get to 10. That's our sweet spot. I knew nothing about these guys, and I'm willing to bet if you're a mortgage broker doing between 2 and 3 million, you're probably going to hire these guys because it's so damn specific. So your thing is like a Dear Business Owners, I'll make you more profits. You want to be Dear Mortgage Broker doing between 2 and 3 million, we can help you get to 10. Just that alone will make your shit more meaningful. So it's a problem of niche selection and not a problem of what's here, unless you have a problem up here choosing a niche. So don't make internal issues out of things that are just like poor execution of advertisement. Because a lot of times, I call this, by the way, when you're in this phase, and I've talked to our mastermind members of this, when you're entering a new space and you're trying to get new clients, I call this the question your sanity phase. Because when you question your sanity, it's like, is it me? Am I broken? Is my ads? Maybe my service is broken. It's really none of those things. Usually it's just your offer sucks, and so nobody's interested and it doesn't speak to anything or anyone meaningful. But if you get past that, you'll see that it was just an offer issue, and there's nothing wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with your service and all those things. So don't make it question your sanity, because it's not really about your sanity. That's all we got for questions. I just want to run by once more that Go High Level. There's a couple of add-ons. If you guys are interested, if you're using Go High Level already and you want to switch over and migrate and get our snapshots, you can do that. Or if you're new and going to check it out. So we've created the onboarding, like I call this Welcome Aboard. It really sets the frame for happy clients who want to stay and pay you for a long time. We've also got some money-making campaigns in there, campaigns for following up with past clients, for generating reviews, for getting businesses referrals, as well as cold stuff. I call it our phoneless booking. It is such a problem in the industry for so many people who say clients say they're all bad leads. Our solution is really simple. don't even give the leads to the client. Just have the clients sell them on booking themselves. So we've got a phoneless booking funnel, and then we use follow-ups to make sure they show up. When a business just has a pre-booked appointment that shows up, they can usually handle those. So it's a way, I think, a much smarter process. So if you're interested in that, check that out. Oh, and it also includes Go High Level was gracious enough to include an hour of setup, so you can get on the phone with them. It's totally free. They'll walk you through anything you're trying to do. If you need that, why not? If you don't, it's just a cool extra. Maybe you can use it with your virtual assistant if you got one. So that's all I got for you guys in this. I will post that link below. Much love. May the force be with you. Happy Monday, y'all. And that's all I got for you guys. So